Question A is asking us to find the slope of the curve at the given point P. Our point P is 4, negative 31, and our function is y equals 1 minus 2x squared. Okay, so the first thing we should acknowledge is that our slope is our rate of change, and the rate of change equation is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. All right, and we also know this is equal to delta y over delta x. Okay, so to find the quote-unquote slope of a point, we're going to use artificial value h for delta x. So just know that this variable h conceptually represents our change in x. This also means that we can find y2 by evaluating f of x plus h. So evaluating our function at x plus the change in x. And then y1 is just going to be f of x, basic f of x. And we're actually already given this. It's negative 31. It's the y value in the point. And all this over the change in x, which is going to be h. We already established that earlier. So now we're at a point where we have the equation to calculate our slope for a point. All we need to do is plug in and solve. So first off, we have 1 minus 2 times x plus h, and we know x is 4, plus h and squared. Then we have f of x, which we're already given this. We already established this earlier. We're already given this. It's negative 31. And then all this over h. So we're going to keep h here, and h is going to be the last remaining variable when we solve all this. And there is a reason for that we will find out later. I'm not going to divide the whole thing by h because I just want to save some space, but it's very important that you remember to divide the whole equation by h. Do not forget the h in the denominator. All right, so first off, we have to FOIL. We're going to end up with 16 plus 4h plus 4h plus h squared. Okay, and then all of this is going to be multiplied by negative 2, and 1 minus 2. So over here, we have two negatives. That makes a positive. So we have a positive 31 over here. Okay, so now we just have distributive property. We end up with a negative 32. And then these two combine to become 8h. So we actually have negative 2 times 8h, which is going to be negative 16h. And then we have negative 2 times h squared, which is negative 2h squared. And then we have a 1 here. So this 1 is going to minus the 32, becoming negative 31. And that's going to cancel out with this 31 here, leaving us with only negative 16h minus 2h squared. So now I'm going to reintroduce the h from earlier. And it's very important that you do not forget this once again. And we also can take out a negative h from these two equations. We can factor out the negative h, and we end up with 16 plus 2h divided by h. So these two are going to cancel out. This is going to become negative 1, and then we're just going to redistribute, and we get negative 16 minus 2h. This is our equation to find the slope, and you have to remember that h represents change in x. So conceptually, it represents it. So as we get closer and closer to zero change in x, we are getting closer and closer to our point, which basically is going to give us our slope. So pretty much we're going to set h to 0, and that will give us our slope. So we end up with negative 2 times 0. This just becomes 0. And then we have negative 16 minus 0. Our slope is negative 16. So the answer to A is negative 16. Question B is asking us to find the equation of a tangent line at point B. So we're going to be using point slope form for this. It's going to be y2 minus y1 equals m, which is slope, times x2 minus x1. Okay, so we have y2, it's equal to 31, and then we're just going to set y1 to y, and then we have our slope from when we solved part A, so that was equal to negative 16, and we're going to multiply by x2. We have x2, it's 4. We're going to set x1 to x. So now we just convert to slope-intercept form, y equals mxb. So we're going to distribute. We got negative 64 plus 16x. And then we're going to add 31 to both sides of the equation, which is just going to add to the 64 here, which is going to be 33. So we have negative 33. And then we're going to bring the 16x over because that is slope-intercept form. And then we have negative y on this side. So we're going to get rid of the negative by dividing the whole equation by negative 1. We end up with y equals negative 16x plus 33. So this is the answer to B.